Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going way back in time to ancient Greece. We're going to explore some of that timeless wisdom from those famous philosophers. You know, the ones you probably heard of: Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and a whole bunch more. We've got a collection of their quotes and philosophical insights. And you know me, I love a good treasure hunt through history. But what I'm really curious about is this: do these ancient ideas still hold up in our modern world?
Well, what's fascinating is that these thinkers, they were grappling with many of the same questions we still ask today, like, what does it mean to live a good life? How do we find happiness? What is our place in the universe? And even though their world was vastly different from ours, their insights into human nature and the search for meaning, well, they can be surprisingly relevant.
I am already intrigued. Okay, so as I was skimming through the source material, one theme that kept popping up was this emphasis on knowing yourself. We've all heard that famous Socratic line: knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. But it seems like this wasn't just a catchy saying for the Greeks. It was like a fundamental principle for them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Self-awareness was considered crucial for making sound judgments, for interacting effectively with others, and for ultimately living a virtuous life. It's like building a house, you know?
Yeah.
You need to know the foundation, the materials, the strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
before you can build something that will last. And for the Greeks, that foundation was self-knowledge.
So how did they go about achieving this self-knowledge? Was it through introspection, observation, or something else?
Well, they believed it was an ongoing process that involved both introspection, so that's examining your own thoughts, beliefs, and motivations, but also engagement with the world around you. One quote that really highlights this is, "A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values." This suggests that by understanding what we truly value, we gain insight into our own character and what drives our actions.
That's really thought-provoking. It's like saying, show me what you prioritize and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if we, in our fast-paced modern world, if we sometimes skip over this crucial step of self-reflection. We're so busy doing, achieving, consuming, that we may not take the time to really examine what gives our lives meaning.
That's a great observation. And it seems the Greeks anticipated that potential pitfall. They emphasized balance in all things, including between action and contemplation. They wouldn't advocate for withdrawing from the world, to, sit in a cave and ponder our navels. Instead, they probably encourage us to find those moments of stillness amidst the busyness, to reflect on our experiences and to continually refine our understanding of ourselves.
Speaking of balance, let's move on to another major theme that emerged from the source: happiness. Now, I have to admit, when I think of ancient philosophers, I picture them as being, well, quite serious and stoic, maybe even a little bit gloomy. But I was pleasantly surprised to find some truly delightful quotes about finding joy and contentment.
Yeah, and what's intriguing is that the sources present a nuanced view of happiness. You see, it wasn't just about feeling good all the time. In fact, some of the quotes highlight the importance of material simplicity, like this one. "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants."
Ooh, I love that. It's like a minimalist mantra from centuries ago. It really challenges our modern consumerist culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, constantly being bombarded with messages that tell us we need more stuff to be happy.
Right. It's almost as if they foresaw the trap of equating happiness with material possessions. But then, alongside those ideas about simplicity, we also have quotes that emphasize the importance of our inner state of mind. There's that classic line, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking."
Okay, so it's not just about what we have or don't have, but also about how we perceive and interpret our experiences. Would you say that their view of happiness was more about inner peace and contentment, rather than external circumstances?
Yes, but it goes even deeper than that. The Greeks had this concept of eudaimonia, which is often translated as happiness. But it's much richer than that. It's about living a fulfilling and flourishing life in accordance with virtue and purpose.
I'm already hooked on this word eudaimonia. It sounds like a much more holistic and meaningful concept than just fleeting happiness. Tell me more about what this flourishing life looked like for the Greeks.
Well, for them, eudaimonia wasn't about chasing pleasure or avoiding pain at all costs. It was about striving to live a life guided by reason, virtue, and a sense of purpose. It involved cultivating your talents, contributing to society, and aligning your actions with your values. It's almost like they envisioned a recipe for a good life, and eudaimonia was the delicious end result.
I love that analogy. Okay, so we've got self-knowledge as the foundation, eudaimonia as the goal. And now I'm curious about the ingredients in this recipe for good life. What else did the Greeks emphasize?
Well, one element that appears repeatedly throughout the source material is the importance of human connection, particularly friendship. There's that striking quote, "Every man can tell how many goats or sheep he possesses, but not how many friends."
Whoa, that really hits home, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
In our world of social media connections, it's easy to rack up hundreds or even thousands of friends online. But how many of those connections are truly meaningful?
It's a great point. And it seems the Greeks understood that true friendship wasn't about quantity, but about quality, about those deep, soul-nourishing connections that help us grow, learn, and face life's challenges.
I remembered another quote that really captures the essence of true friendship. A friend is a second self. It suggests that a true friend is someone who understands you so deeply that they become like an extension of yourself.
Exactly. For the Greeks, friendship wasn't just a pleasant pastime. It was considered essential for a good life. They believed that true friends provide support, encouragement, and honest feedback, all of which are crucial for personal growth. And the pursuit of eudaimonia.
And they even saw friendship as a path to wisdom. There's a quote that says, "By associating with the wise, you will become wise yourself." It's like saying that our relationships can be powerful catalysts for our own intellectual and moral development.
Yes, and I think that's a valuable takeaway for us today. We often focus on individual pursuits of knowledge, but the Greeks remind us that we also learn and grow through our interactions with others, especially those we consider true friends.
So we've got self-knowledge, the pursuit of eudaimonia, and strong friendships as key ingredients in this ancient recipe for a good life. What other wisdom can we glean from these sources?
As we're exploring these ideas, it strikes me that the Greeks weren't just, armchair philosophers,
Yep.
pondering abstract concepts in isolation. They were deeply concerned with how these ideas played out in everyday life, how they could help people navigate the complexities of, well, the human experience.
Yeah, totally. And one theme that comes up repeatedly is this idea of facing adversity with courage. These philosophers clearly understood that life is full of challenges, from personal setbacks to societal upheavals. I
Absolutely.
was particularly struck by some of the quotes that use such vivid imagery to convey this idea of resilience. There's that powerful line, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break." It just evokes this sense of steadfastness, of standing strong, even when surrounded by chaos.
What's interesting about that quote is it doesn't suggest avoiding or escaping the waves. It's about weathering the storm, absorbing the impact, and remaining unyielding. This aligns beautifully with the Stoic philosophy, which was prevalent in ancient Greece. The Stoics believed that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions, our thoughts, and our emotions.
It's almost like they're saying, life's going to throw you some curveballs, so you better learn how to hit them. And rather than getting swept away by every wave of adversity, they encourage us to cultivate that inner strength
Right.
and resilience.
Right. And they didn't just talk about enduring hardship passively. They also emphasized taking action, even in the face of uncertainty or fear. There's that inspiring quote, "Even as we speak, time speeds swiftly away. Begin, be bold, and venture to be wise." It's a call to embrace the present moment and to act courageously, even if we don't have all the answers.
It's a great reminder that we shouldn't let fear or procrastination hold us back from pursuing our goals and living a meaningful life. And it seems that for the Greeks, this pursuit of wisdom was closely tied to education and learning. There's that famous line, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet."
Ah, yes. Education was highly valued in ancient Greece. It wasn't just about acquiring knowledge for its own sake. They believed that education played a vital role in shaping virtuous citizens who could contribute to the well-being of society. It was about developing the whole person, intellectually, morally, and civically.
So it wasn't just about memorizing facts or passing exams, but about using knowledge to become better human beings and to make the world a better place.
Precisely. And they recognized that education wasn't confined to formal schooling. It was a lifelong pursuit. There are numerous quotes in our sources about the importance of reading, contemplation, and ongoing learning. One that I find particularly relevant today is, it does not matter how many books you have, but how good the books are.
In our age of information overload, that's a powerful reminder. It's not about consuming vast quantities of content, but about being discerning, choosing quality over quantity, and engaging deeply with the ideas that truly nourish our minds.
I completely agree. And it's not just about what we read. They also emphasize the importance of real-world experience, of learning from our interactions with others, and from observing the natural world. It was about a holistic approach to learning that engaged all of our senses and faculties.
It's fascinating how these themes of courage, resilience, education, and self-knowledge, They all seem to intertwine. It's as if they understood that facing challenges with courage requires a strong foundation of self-awareness and a commitment to ongoing learning.
And it's not just about individual growth. They also saw a strong connection between personal virtue and the well-being of society as a whole. There's a quote that really highlights this idea. The penalty good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men.
Wow, that's a potent reminder
Yeah.
of the importance of civic engagement. It's a call to action to use our knowledge, our voices, and our actions to shape the world around us, to ensure that good and just leadership prevails.
Absolutely. They believed that a well-functioning society depended on the active participation of its citizens, particularly those who had cultivated wisdom and virtue through education and self-reflection. It's a powerful message that resonates even today, especially in a world facing complex challenges that demand informed and ethical leadership.
Okay, I have to ask, did these serious-minded philosophers ever, let loose and have a little fun? Was there any humor to be found in their writings?
Yes, you'll be glad to hear they weren't all about Stoicism and serious contemplation. Even the most profound thinkers recognize the value of humor and its ability to shed light on the human condition.
I did stumble upon a few quotes that made me chuckle. One that I particularly enjoyed was, "Don't even dare trust a wife that says you're always right."
That one is timeless, isn't it? It speaks to the complexities of relationships and the importance of maintaining a healthy dose of skepticism, even with those we love.
Another one that caught my eye was, "What do people have the most? Hope. Because even those who have nothing else have it." It's a poignant reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can be a powerful force for good, for resilience, and for keeping us moving forward.
And it speaks to the human spirit's capacity for resilience, for finding meaning and purpose, even in the face of adversity.
As we delve deeper into these sources, I'm struck by the depths and breadth of the wisdom contained within them. There's something here for everyone. Regardless of their background or beliefs, it's truly a treasure trove of insights into the human experience.
That's the beauty of these timeless ideas, isn't it? They transcend cultures and eras, offering guidance and inspiration for navigating the complexities of life.
So with all this wisdom swirling around, I'm curious what stood out to you the most as you explored these sources. What resonated with you on a personal level?
That's a great question. What really struck me was the emphasis on aligning our actions with our values, on living with integrity. There's that simple yet powerful quote. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It's a reminder to be mindful of our choices, both big and small, and to strive to live in a way that reflects our deepest convictions.
Yes, that's a powerful idea, and one that can be challenging to live up to in a world that often pressures us to compromise our values for the sake of success or acceptance.
Absolutely. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to doing what's right, even when it's difficult or unpopular.
And I think it ties in beautifully with the idea of eudaimonia, of striving to live a fulfilling life in accordance with virtue and purpose. It's not just about what we achieve externally, but about the kind of people we become along the way.
Yes, it's about cultivating our character, our moral compass, and living in a way that aligns with our deepest sense of what's right and good.
I love that. So it's not just about amassing knowledge, but about embodying it, living it out in our daily lives.
Exactly. And it's a lifelong process, a journey of continuous learning and refinement. It's about striving to become the best versions of ourselves, not for the sake of accolades or recognition, but for the sake of living a meaningful and fulfilling life.
I'm also fascinated by the idea of self-control, particularly when it comes to our desires and emotions. The Greeks seem to have understood that our passions can be both a source of great joy and potential pitfalls.
Yes, they believed that a well-lived life required balance, and that included mastering our desires and emotions. There's a great line that really captures this idea. Will your mind rule you, or will you rule your mind?
It highlights the inner struggle we all face between reason and impulse, between our higher aspirations and our more base desires.
And the Stoics in particular emphasized the importance of not letting our emotions control us. They believed that true freedom came from mastering our reactions to external events and cultivating a sense of inner peace, regardless of our circumstances.
So it's not about suppressing our emotions altogether, but about finding that balance between feeling them fully and not letting them dictate our actions.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a sense of equanimity, of being able to weather the storms of life without being swept away by our emotional reactions.
There are also numerous quotes in our source material about avoiding excess, about finding moderation in all things.
Yes, they recognized the allure of pleasure, but also warned against overindulgence. True happiness for them wasn't about chasing fleeting gratification, but about finding balance and moderation.
I love that perspective. It resonates deeply in a world that often glorifies excess and instant gratification.
Right, it's about finding that sweet spot, enjoying life's pleasures, without becoming enslaved to them.
There's a quote that really encapsulates this idea for me. Pleasure is the beginning and end of a happy life, but you need to limit yourself. It acknowledges the role of pleasure in a good life, but emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries, of not letting it become our sole pursuit.
It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes from a more holistic approach to life, one that includes meaningful relationships, intellectual and creative pursuits, and a sense of purpose that extends beyond our own immediate gratification.
It seems that the Greeks understood that a life solely devoted to pleasure-seeking would ultimately lead to emptiness and dissatisfaction.
Yes, they believed that a truly fulfilling life involved cultivating virtue, contributing to society, and seeking wisdom. And while pleasure certainly has its place, it shouldn't be the driving force behind our choices and actions.
As we delve deeper into these ideas, I'm realizing how interconnected they are. Self-knowledge, courage, resilience, education, friendship, virtue, and even the pursuit of pleasure, they all weave together to create a tapestry of a well-lived life.
It's like they had a holistic understanding of human flourishing. They recognized that our inner world and our outer world, our thoughts and our actions, our relationships and our pursuits, it's all part of a larger whole.
And they also acknowledge the reality of suffering
Hmm.
and loss. They didn't shy away from the difficult aspects of human experience.
Yes, there are several quotes that address the inevitability of facing challenges, setbacks, and even death. They remind us that suffering is a part of life, and that even in the midst of hardship, there can be growth and wisdom.
There's that profound line. To be always fortunate and to pass through life with a soul that has never known sorrow is to be ignorant of half of nature.
It's a powerful statement, isn't it? It suggests that true wisdom comes from embracing the full spectrum of human experience, both the joys and the sorrows.
It's almost as if they're saying that by avoiding or denying suffering, we miss out on a crucial aspect of what it means to be human.
Right, and they certainly weren't advocating for a life of misery, but they understood that challenges and setbacks are inevitable, and that by facing them with courage and resilience, we can emerge stronger and wiser.
There's another quote that really speaks to this idea. While we wait for life, life passes. It's a poignant reminder not to get caught up in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. It's a call to embrace the present moment, to savor life's simple pleasures, and to make the most of the time we have.
I think that's a beautiful sentiment, and one that's especially relevant in our fast-paced modern world. We're often so focused on achieving goals and striving for the next thing that we forget to appreciate the beauty and richness of the present moment.
And it seems that the Greeks understood that true happiness isn't something we achieve once and for all. It's a state of being that we cultivate through our choices, our actions, and our way of thinking.
Yes, it's about finding joy and meaning in the everyday, in our relationships, in our work, and in our connection to something larger than ourselves.
And it's about cultivating those qualities of character, courage, resilience, kindness, wisdom that allow us to navigate life's challenges with grace and purpose.
Beautifully said. You know, I think it's remarkable how these ancient ideas still resonate with us today. It's a testament to the enduring power of human wisdom and the universality of the questions we grapple with as we seek to live meaningful and fulfilling lives.
I completely agree. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm filled with a sense of gratitude for these ancient thinkers who left us with such a rich legacy of wisdom. Their words offer guidance, inspiration, and a framework for living well, even in our modern world. Welcome back for our final part of this deep dive into ancient Greek wisdom. I have to say, I'm a little sad to see it come to an end. It feels like we've only just, scratched the surface of these incredible ideas.
I know what you mean. It's remarkable how much wisdom is packed into these ancient texts. And you're right, we've only just begun to explore the richness and the depth of their insights.
One thing that's become increasingly clear to me is how interconnected all these themes are. Self-knowledge, happiness, virtue, friendship, courage, resilience. They all seem to weave together to create this beautiful tapestry of a meaningful life.
It's like they had this holistic vision of human flourishing, recognizing that all aspects of our lives are intertwined. Our inner world and outer world, our thoughts and actions, our relationships and pursuits.
And I'm particularly struck by their dedication to the pursuit of knowledge and truth. It wasn't just about acquiring information, but about using it to live a better life, to become better human beings, and to contribute to the well-being of society.
Absolutely. And they understood that this pursuit of knowledge wasn't a passive activity. It required effort, discipline, and a willingness to challenge our own assumptions. There's a quote that beautifully illustrates this. The task of the educated mind is simply put, read. To lead. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen.
That's a wonderful analogy. It reminds us that just like a fig takes time to ripen, so too does wisdom. It requires patience, cultivation, and a commitment to the process of learning and growth.
Exactly. It's not about instant gratification, but about a lifelong journey of discovery, reflection, and refinement.
And they recognized that this journey wasn't meant to be undertaken alone. They saw immense value in learning from others, in engaging in dialogue, and in seeking out mentors and guides.
Yes, there's that quote that says, by associating with the wise, you will become wise yourself. It's a reminder that we can learn as much from the people around us as we can from books and solitary contemplation.
You know, as we're talking about this, it makes me think about the role of community in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
It seems like they placed a high value on civic engagement and contributing to the common good.
Absolutely, and they saw a strong connection between individual virtue and the well-being of society as a whole. Remember that quote we discussed earlier. The penalty good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. It highlights the importance of using our knowledge and influence to shape the world around us, to ensure that justice and wisdom prevail.
It's a powerful call to action, isn't it? It reminds us that we're not just isolated individuals pursuing our own self-interest. We're part of a larger community, and we have a responsibility to contribute to its well-being.
And they believed that a well-functioning society depended on the active participation of its citizens, particularly those who had cultivated wisdom and virtue, through education and self-reflection.
It's a message that resonates deeply in our world today, wouldn't you say? We're facing so many complex challenges: climate change, social inequality, political polarization, that demand informed and engaged citizens who are willing to work together for the common good.
I couldn't agree more. And it's not just about voting or participating in formal political processes. It's about bringing those values of wisdom, courage, and compassion into our everyday interactions, our workplaces, our communities.
It's about being mindful of the impact our choices have on others, and about using our voices and actions to create a more just and equitable world.
Exactly. And it starts with that inner work, that commitment to self-knowledge and the pursuit of virtue that we've been discussing throughout this deep dive.
So as we wrap up this exploration of ancient Greek wisdom, what would you say is the most valuable takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing you hope they'll carry with them from this deep dive?
That's a tough one. There's so much richness here, so many valuable insights. But if I had to choose just one, I think it would be the importance of aligning our actions with our values, of living with integrity. Remember that quote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It's such a simple yet profound principle.
I love that. It's a reminder to be mindful of our choices, to act with intention, and to strive to live in a way that reflects our deepest convictions.
Yes. And it takes courage to live by this principle, to resist the temptations of expediency or self-interest, to stand up for what's right even when it's difficult.
And it seems that the Greeks understood that living a life of integrity wasn't just about following a set of rules. It was about cultivating those qualities of character: wisdom, courage, compassion, justice. That would guide our actions and shape our decisions.
Absolutely. It's about becoming the kind of people who naturally do the right thing, not out of obligation, but because it's an expression of who we are at our core.
And that brings us back to the importance of self-knowledge, doesn't it? To live with integrity, we need to understand our values, our strengths, our weaknesses, and what truly motivates us.
Yes. It all circles back to that foundational principle. Self-knowledge is the key to unlocking our full potential, to living a meaningful and fulfilling life, and to making a positive contribution to the world around us.
So our final thought for you to ponder: as you continue your own journey of exploration, if you could have dinner with one of these ancient Greek philosophers, who would you choose and why? What burning question would you ask them?
That's a great question to leave our listeners with. I'm sure they'll have some fascinating insights and perspectives to share.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into timeless wisdom. We hope it sparked some new insights and inspired you to keep exploring these ideas on your own. And be sure to check out the show notes for links to further resources and information. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.